And hi everyone, and welcome to another episode of Hashtag Ask Jim. We're up to episode number 77 in a very unique circumstance, and obviously due to the current conditions, we have to do this via Zoom. So big thanks to Jake and Ben who've been working hard to set it up, and also as well to Jim to agreeing to keep Ask Jim going during this time, which I think is very important. So make sure everyone who's watching leave a comment or question into the comments section there so we can see it and we can ask as many of your questions as we want to go. So, all right, Dave McDonald's first up, Jim, with his basically saying, do we have Jim's branded face masks or a supplier that can make them, question mark?
Well, we are getting them done, but I don't know how we're going to get them out to you because we're at lockdown right now, or the whole office is closed. There's nobody there, not even grounds maintenance. We're locked. So when they come back, we'll probably have them. Yeah,
true. I think it was 250 on order, and they're black with the white sort of Jim's logo on it. So that'd be pretty cool. And
great fashion statement. Everybody's got to wear them. They're going to sell like hotcakes.
Absolutely. Well, why not? You know, with Jim, all the media you're doing, Jim. I forgot to ask you to restart, but you've obviously been doing a lot of the media circuit. You've been doing Sunrise. You've been doing 7, 10, everything.
Yeah.
How's it overall been? Yeah. How's it been?
It's been good, actually. Got a little bit negative at the beginning, but Channel 7 got me a little bit distorted. But since then, it's been amazing. I've been flooded with, most of the negatives are anti-vaxxers, actually. People stop me in the street and say, well done. You know, I went out to put rubbish out, and this guy said, oh, that's fantastic what you're doing. Keep it up. It's all over.
Yeah, so people have been emailing for support to Jim at Jim's.net, which has been fantastic there. So we've got one here from Sean Daly, which is, hi, Jim. Overall, how is all Jim whatever going? Is all franchises still going, question mark? So
yeah, we're going well. The only place we're not doing well is in Victoria, where we're shut down by law. But the leads are actually up over last year, substantially up. Franchise inquiries have gone through the roof. It's, apart from this one stage, don't want to sound callous. It's been dreadful for the economy and so many people, but for Jim's group, it's been a bonanza. I mean, we should have a virus every year. I really don't mean that. I really don't mean that. But from an economic point of view, it's been great. In fact, we've already, before the lockdown, we've hit our highest level ever of franchisees.
And the question that we always say is, like, you'd be crazy to buy a franchise now, whereas we think it's probably the opposite, isn't it? You're probably unsafe in a job.
Because we've got so much work. Work's gone up. I mean, we were close to 30% unserviced before the outbreak, and now we've got so much work, and you can make a good living out of it. You know, with people who have been business executives and corporates and all kinds of people, now they're looking for something to do, and a service business is a great option.
And they put their business skills to the service businesses, and they can grow massive things, and away they go.
So they had it back in the 90s when we had the kidding recession. We had a fantastic growth spurt there because a lot of really business-savvy people bought franchises and did very, very well.
Now let's get into one here from the RMIT Liberal Club is commenting. He says, when restriction end, would you come to an RMIT Liberal Club event, Jim? They're inviting you out.
Yeah, I guess so. We'll have to travel again. Where that's going to be, I don't know. Yeah, mate. Yeah, sure. Why not?
All right. So send us an invite there at Jim's.net on the Facebook page, guys.
As long as it's in Melbourne, I hate airplanes, so I don't mind.
RMIT's Melbourne.
I do know that.
Okay. So Ed Sutherland's gone, hi there, Jim's taxi service. I don't know. We don't have Jim's taxi service or Jim's courier starting up, do we?
No.
Not on the horizon. Then Sam Bates has gone here.
Taxis we'd love to do if it was deregulated. That would be a great one. But at the moment, it's a bit tightly controlled, quasi-monopoly. And then you have its own broken by billion-dollar companies like Uber. If they ever open it up, as they should do, so everybody could get cheaper service and better service as well, it's a thing we wouldn't mind doing. But right now, hopeless.
So make sure there's a few people watching now, 140, which is great. Make sure you share and leave a comment or question for Jim. We're going to get through as many as we can this week. Sam Bates gone here for you, Jim. Who wins tonight, Jim? The Bombers or the Suns? There's footy game on tonight. Bombers or the Suns? We'll say the Bombers. We'll say that.
I have no idea. I have no idea.
Well, we'll move on.
I'd never be a politician because I never could pretend an interest in football. Sorry.
That's it. And Seth Wingard goes, I have a question. Why would you want to work with the circumstances at the moment? Question mark from Seth Wingard.
Because work is fun. Work is making a living. Work is great. I enjoy work. I'm 68. I don't ever intend to retire. Working is wonderful. And now's a great opportunity. In fact, I think there's more opportunity now than there ever has been in human history for an ordinary individual to do really, really well, because the world is so changed with IT and everything else, with the software, with the IT revolution. It's a fantastic time to be in business. And look, I know there's negatives like housing is very expensive, but in terms of business, I mean, who can go out there like they can start mowing lawns and become a multi-millionaire? And we've got lots of franchisees who've done that kind of thing, not just me.
Eric Jurgens has gone in. Hi guys, it's great to see you there. Hope you've all had a wonderful week. It's been a different week. Eric's still going with the media from Jim, so a lot happening.
Different is true. Different.
And Paul Sanders is going, hey Jim and Joel, hope you're both well. Any response from today's letter? Thanks for standing up for everyone. Yeah,
we had a great response from news.com. That was fantastic article. The longer this thing goes, the more positives we're getting, the less negatives. That's the pattern we've seen. And I think people are getting sick of it. We just got pictures sent to us now. People are so outraged, and this is many people. 3 workers working on a flower bed opposite the Victoria Barracks.
Yeah.
People are so furious. They write to us and say, you guys, we can't operate, we can't mow a lawn, we can't garden by ourselves, but 3 people can do it together, right out in public, to do a flower bed garden. How is that essential for safety and health? Whereas a poor old lady who needs to get her gutters cleaned, she's not important. Not her safety and health don't count. I mean, it's so hypocritical. And that saps the actual support from the community. More and more people are getting fed up with this.
Then Justin Kirkham's going, hi guys, just wondering how you support your franchisees with mental illness. I think Justin Kirkham's a fencing franchisee.
Well, one of the things I know that franchisors have done, even though they're not being paid and there's no fees, they are ringing their franchisees regularly and just keeping in touch with them. I know one guy was telling me rings them every couple of days because they're under such stress. So we've got a lot of fantastic franchisors in gyms, and they really care. They're not getting paid a cent this month. They've got no income at all, but they're still talking to their franchisees and still counselling them and helping them. They really care.
I've spoken to Michael and Rachel of franchisors, and they're doing weekly game nights and bingos and stuff. Just there's nothing they can do but keep in contact with everyone and sort of bring a bit of community to it. So yeah,
that's right.
Cool.
One of the things is that we do different is that when in New Zealand, when they were shut down, Green Acres, their guys couldn't work and they still charged them fees. Nobody in gyms would ever suggest such a stupid thing. So we're actually not only not charging fees, but we're saying to them, if you can work legally, go out and work with our blessing. We're still not going to charge you. We just want you to get through these next few weeks.
There was a big comment online when it first went live with 7 News was the Jim just wants everyone to keep his workers to keep working for the fees. But as you just said, obviously not the case.
Look, seriously, the amount of money I will lose from this thing is about what I spend on my research project every month. And that is
a lot of money.
To do with the fundamentals of trying to cure mental illness. It really isn't a big amount of money. I actually offered to write a letter to the Premier and saying, listen, if you will cancel this really callous and dreadful measure, I will donate all my profits to Beyond Blue, yeah. And they said, don't put that out. It doesn't sound good. But that's my situation. It really isn't about me. It's about, and it's not just our franchisees. It's so many out there who are suffering. It's really hard to take.
And you've got a lot of them emailing you. This is what people don't realise. It's a lot of the independent business owners are making personal contact with you directly, aren't they?
Yeah, I get a lot more from independents than I do from our people because and there's so much anger. Our people are probably better off than most because they're somewhat more successful, higher earners from the start. But there's so much hurt out there. Now,
Brett Craig's gone, hi, Jim. Is there any opening for a Daniel Andrews removal franchise?
Well, we're trying. Actually, the good thing about a parliamentary democracy is that the Labor members of Parliament can kick him out if they wish to. Or you're in the majority, and they will. I'm sure it's going to happen too. But the amount of mistakes this guy's made, the appalling blunders. I mean, even Labor Party, I know they recognise that he's toxic. He'll go by the end of the year. I just hope he goes soon enough so he doesn't cause too much more damage.
And Troy Savito's gone here. Are you giving your franchisees in Victoria a break from? I think that must mean fees. So
yeah. No,
yes.
None of the ones affected pay fees, and the franchisors don't pay fees to us. We just completely wipe them out. As I said, nobody would ever imagine that we would do anything different to that. It'd be so unfair.
Yeah, the Dave McDonald's gone, I can see that the comment on the news tomorrow taken out of context. Well, I hope not. They actually done pretty well in the news.com.au article. They've done most of the letter, didn't they? Which is good.
Yeah, they do. Actually, letters are good because you can't take them out of context. This is what's said. So yeah, I like the letter. It worked very well. Got the point out, and we found that since we've been able to get the point out direct, instead of having it distorted, we get a lot more positives and a lot less negatives. And the negatives are mostly anti-vaxxers anyway.
Yeah, the compulsory vaccination comment was the one that stirred up the most trouble online. So,
Well, I believe
yeah.
in compulsory vaccination. I'm not going to pretend I don't. I think that we should crack down on idiots who don't want to be vaccinated. And I'm getting a lot of... Anyway,
Yeah.
that's what I think.
Okay. Parker Matthews going here. What do you think of this new company called Urban Company? I don't know what that. Have you heard of Urban Company?
No, I
No,
haven't. Sorry.
never
Have to
mind.
explain what it does.
Yeah, let us know what it is, Matthew, in the comments there. Malcolm Valley's tuning, which is great. All right, Jim's Mobile Tyres. Jim, when the lockdown is over, our franchisor in Epping would like you to attend their open day at the new Jim's Mobile Tyre Centre.
Well, usually
Epping,
I don't mind doing that. As I said, I don't like flying, but if it's in Melbourne, I'll come.
We can come out with the camera and stuff, absolutely.
Yeah, sure. I'd love to.
All right,
love to support you.
Done. All right, Matthew Dwyer's got in. Hi, Jim and Joel. Jim, please consider boycotting 7 News. They are not interested in this story. 7 is only interested in doing a hatchet job. If only they would report the whole story, just the 5 seconds about challenging the legality. Channel 7, take note. Never let the truth get in the way of a good story.
Look, partly my own fault. I'm not a politician. I'm not used to it. I didn't quite understand how you can distort somebody by taking... So actually, in all the later interviews, I was very careful that everything I said conveyed the full message, like a politician. So I learnt my lesson. You can't blame them for trying to make a big beat up about it. They distort a bit, so they do. It's my fault. I shouldn't let myself be used that way.
You went for 20 minutes, but gee whiz, it was their most popular thing on socials, and they kept resharing it all the time. They kept using it again to keep getting some more people to their page. So you're the most popular thing on their page for the last 2 months, I reckon, in terms of their Facebook page.
Well, the media likes me because they I'm a big story.
Yeah, they love the logo. Jim's Mowing. It's always Jim's Mowing boss with the logo in there because everyone recognises it, right? So everyone shares it online and away it goes. And Sean Daly says, you want the mask? Absolutely. So the mask, we get them, Sean. We're going to put them online and you can buy. RMIT Club says thank you, and thanks to Paul Evans as well. Okay, Raul Francisco's going, hi, I'm a painter. I'd love to work with Jim's. We do have painting franchise, Raul, so you can join as well.
Absolutely. We've not only got franchisee roles, we've also got franchisor roles for people who want to, rise in the organisation. People can come in and get into a new division and build the franchisee numbers from there. It's a great way to build a major business if you've got those kinds of skills. But you've got to be a person who likes people, who likes helping people. That's what you need at that position.
And then Troy's going with the fees question. So yes, Jim's giving Metro fees a break if they cannot work. Absolutely.
Absolutely.
And James Stewart's going, Jim's COVID immunisations, mobile immunisations with the new Russian vaccine. I don't know if you saw that in the news, Jim. Putin reckons
I'm hoping there's a whole lot of treatments, vaccines being tested right now. Who knows? Early next year, maybe if we're lucky, they'll have something. They've never done anything like this before. We're really hoping.
Now, James Lee's the first time viewer, I reckon. So, g'day, James. Has gone, what company started Jim's businesses? Was it the lawn service?
Yes, it was me. Well, it was me mowing lawns. Jim's Mowing was Jim Mowing originally. And I just got a bit big for my boots. I mean, that's what it was. And it wasn't for quite a few years we actually decided to try something else.
That's it. And Paul Evans has gone, Jim's Lawyers. So I know that's something you're passionate about, isn't it?
Jim's Legal, I'd love to do. And I'd love to do it with a feedback mechanism. Look, it's fun to make jokes about lawyers, and there's some good ones. And I could tell you quite a few if I had time. But the fact is, there are some lawyers who are the worst scumbags in the world, who will just rip people off, who would take enormous amounts of money. We had a case once that was settled for $35,000, and the lawyer, as at mediation, the lawyer charged $100,000. I mean, that guy is a psychopath, whoever did that. At the same time, you have some incredibly decent, wonderful human beings. Our own in-house lawyer, Harpreet, who has her own business too, she's a fantastic lady. So what I like to do is to have a business by the most rigorous system of customer surveys. We find people who really look after the interests of their clients. And there's some great people who can do some great things.
So make sure, guys, everyone's watching. There's 140 people, which is great. Make sure you share the feed and make sure you like it as well. So we've got Peter here's gone with a comment. Jim, I have $10,000 in savings, a mortgage, and married with a 4-year-old child. Is a franchise purchase a good move for me?
If you're the right person to run it. And bear in mind that not everybody succeeds in business. We lose around about 10.5% of our franchisees in the first year. Not all fail. Some of them go independent or just get offered another job. So it's not for everybody. But if you've got the basic business skills to do it, it's a fantastic way ahead. I would say it's a vastly, vastly better investment for most people than something like an arts degree. Seriously.
Well, he's got a young family.
Or a law degree.
Oh, that's true, or a law degree, absolutely.
There are more law students than lawyers in the country. A law degree is not a royal road to massive wealth, I can tell you.
I know, I've got one.
Yeah, that's right. So Whereas a service business is fantastic because you get in there and you start. We've got young people who've been like 24, 25 years old who are making hundreds of thousands of dollars a year and having a great lifestyle and working towards immense wealth. It's a terrific way to go if you've got the skills.
And you've got a young family there, Peter, so it's probably something good to get you, right behind you and make yourself a great life. Then we've got Matthew Dwyer's got on next election. Jim needs to make substantial donations to the major party that will form government. That way, the next pandemic we get looked after, unlike this union-backed jobs did.
I wish I was that rich, Matt. One of the things people don't quite understand is that when one of our franchisees makes $100, I get less than $1. It's a trickle down thing, or I might say trickle up. I'm not nearly as wealthy as I imagine to be. Business Review Weekly wanted to do me as part of the rich 500, and I got to say, you got to be joking. I wouldn't be 10% of the value of one of those guys.
Yeah, there's a comment online all the time is, Jim's more money for his property portfolio, mansions or something like that online. So we saw a lot of.
I wish. If I could get to speak a lot more of the $500 million we're supposed to turn over, I'd be a lot better off, I can assure you.
And we'll keep going. David McDonald's going, I've been trained with Craig from Portland because you lot are all infected. Lol. It's been great. All my customers love me to come and fix their problems. Face mask getting a bit tiring by the end of the day. So you are in Region Victoria, David. So absolutely lovely for you. Then Haydar's jumping on, which is fantastic as well. So hopefully, let's know how the cleaning division's going, Haydar, with everything as well. That'd be nice to know. Then James Lee's gone, Jim's merchandise. We do have Jim's merchandise, but we can't post it because we can't be at the office. So
Jim's Monopoly, Jim's hats, Jim's bears, and all kinds of good stuff. But it's all stuck there. We can't do anything about it.
We will when we come back, hopefully very soon. Eric Jurgen's gone, hi, Jim. Are you connected in any way or have considered getting in touch with the law firm that is looking at doing a class action against Daniel Andrews?
Yes, I've been speaking to a QC. The same guy that did the Israel Folau case, actually. We've been talking about it and considering what we can do. We are looking for a franchisee also to act as a front for a legal action, which would cost them nothing but for loss of income. So haven't been able to find anybody so far, but if any franchisees watching who don't mind taking a bit of flack, we'd love to hear from you. Jim's
get a bit of press out of it, whoever it is.
It would too, and they might actually get the lost income back too. So you've got to have fun with the guts to run it. But we should be challenging Andrews on every level we possibly can.
There we go. So make sure Jim at Jims.net if you think you can do it. David Donald's gone, Paul Sandals, ring everyone you can. Z should ring Z's often as well. So other Z's ringing Z's during this time is definitely, if you know, reach out to someone. Yes,
absolutely. It's important to keep connections in this day and age. Look, mental health is a huge issue right now. It was bad enough before. With what's gone on, it's really awful. The rates of depression, of suicide, everything's gone way up in this time, which is why what the Premier's done is so lacking in conscience. He must know the suffering that people are going through. He probably doesn't, and if he does, he doesn't care, honestly. How could he do what he's done and not see the damage it's doing to people's lives and their families?
Let us know how you're doing in there in the comments. If you need someone, guys, make sure you message on the thing and help each other out. Mohammed's gone here. Builder cleaning refused to pay me. Job done last week. His excuse because of the lockdown. Can you tell me how I can get my payment from this builder? Thanks. I've heard a bit of that going around with construction industries.
Yeah, people use any sort of excuse, I'm afraid. One of the things we want to do is get in touch with a company called Equifax, which actually allows you to when you follow a certain procedure, the mowing guys in Sydney use them, you can actually register them as bad debtors. That's going to be a fairly thing. I'd like our franchisees to have access to that. I've asked people from the office to chase them up and see if we can get onto that. But yes, we need to do a lot more for these dodgy so-and-sos who don't want to pay us. I've got no sympathy for somebody who doesn't want to pay my franchisees.
If you're in the cleaning group, Mohammed, I know they have letters and templates on their website as well for how to chase debtors and stuff. So talk to your franchisor for advice as well.
One of the things too with Jim's Jobs, our new program, one of the planned things is to have actually a system in there which will enable us to chase debtors. Just send them emails, texts, all kinds of things. Just chase them and chase them and chase them until they get so fed up with us they pay.
And speaking of Jim's Jobs, we're actually doing a Jim's Jobs webinar, I think, in another 6 days as well. So we'll let more people know about that if they want to know how to use the program.
It's becoming better and better. Every week that goes by, we're putting more stuff in. We're getting feedback from franchisees. What do you want? What do you want? What can we do for you? Checking the design out. What kind of layout do you like? Everything really designed for what franchisees want. It's getting better and better. And by the end of the year, it's going to be the most fantastic program in the world. And then 6 months later, it'll be even better still.
A lot of investment going on Jim's Jobs. Paul Evans has gone, lockdown could be extended. Let's hope not. And then here we go. Mark William Hanson, are we going to win the fight, Jim? MH22 Bendigo. He's in the regional Victoria, so he can still work. Are we going to win the fight, Jim?
Which fight?
Well, the fight you're doing, I reckon. Are you going to win the fight? That's what they're asking.
With the Premier?
Yeah.
I don't think he's going to back down. Look, I mean, he's got two things to balance. First of all, there's his reputation as a tough guy. And secondly, there's the suffering of tens of thousands of Victorians, the mental health, the financial ruin, everything else. For him, that's an easy decision. His ego is far more important than Victorians are. So, no, I don't think he'll back down. What may happen, though, is he gets rolled as the Premier because he has stuffed up our state so badly. Everybody recognises that now. It's the mucking up of the quarantine. More than anything, it's the Black Lives Matter protests, all the dreadful, it's the massive confusion about the lockdown. He has been so totally incompetent and callous. There are a lot of decent people, decent men and women in the Labor Party who recognise that. I reckon right now there are people meeting and saying, what can we do about this guy?
Now, Justin Kirkham's gone in with regards to his question before. Jim, my franchisor has his own issues and is not interested in my mental health, which hopefully that's probably not the case, but you can talk to your divisional, Justin, and also there's a mentor list, isn't there, on Jim's online?
Yes. And look, contact me if you'd like to. I'm not I never fail to respond to any franchisee. I'll do what I can for you. That's all. Just keep in touch with us. We'll do whatever we can to help you through this very bad time.
So please let him know on that, Justin, as well. Then Eric Jerry's gone, hi, Jim. I was wondering if you might be able to tell me why my son is currently suspended and not be able to get leads, even though we live in stage 3 area and are not in lockdown. Doesn't sound right. If you can work, you can work.
No, we're not putting anybody suspended unnecessarily. Write me an email, jim@jims.net, and I'll look into it for you. But as far as I know, why would we? Why would we want to do that? We want you to take leads. This is terrible. So write me. Yeah,
you're in stage 3, so there should be no reason.
No, not at all.
Yeah. Then Paul Evans wants me to tell you, Jim, I've got to say, Jim, vaccines are dangerous. So we've got someone who's not for that fair. So we'll keep moving on. I don't want to get attacked again on social with it. Yeah, we'll keep going. Then Janan's got to go, Jim, we're with you. So there's a few people tuning in saying you are as well. Then so here's a funny one from a younger person, I reckon. I'll ask you this. Goes, Jim, what's your thoughts on necking a VB at 20 to 8 in the morning? Now, they're basically saying, what's your thoughts on having a beer at 20 to 8 in the morning?
A beer?
A beer. I think it's some youth reference, some youth culture reference.
I have no idea what that means. I haven't had an alcoholic drink for nearly 50 years. So I'm not much of an expert on such things.
Yeah, because
having a glass of Wham first in the morning, hot water with about 1/4 soy milk and the rest hot water. That's a good thing to have first thing in the morning. That's what I do. I get up in the morning, have some Wham, get onto my emails.
Let's see. Have a necking a Wham in the morning, Daniel. See how you go with that.
Yeah, Wham is good. Wham is good. Drink of kings.
And Dave McDonald says, we can't get rid of Dan yet. No one can fill the gap yet. I actually don't think he will stand for re-election. He looks sick of it and tired of the virus. I feel for him, Jim. You should have just internally told workers to get a work permit and not make a public statement. But what is done is done. It's from David.
But they can't. But they can't get a work permit. They can't. How can you get a work permit? It was against the law. The police were gunning for us. There's no question about it. This wasn't something we could get around. You can't get a work permit. Who can give it? Who can tell you? Apart from anything else, nobody even knows what the conditions for a work permit are. We're now told we can do NDIS. Well, we've encouraged go and do it if you can, but who knows?
A good indicator of that was last week, Jim, if you had all these different divisions asking you what they could do and what they couldn't do.
Yeah. I mean, he only mentioned mowing and cleaning, but I get people all the time telling me, can I do fencing? Can I do this? How do I know? How does anybody know? You bring your state Labor MP. He doesn't know. You bring your bureaucrats. They don't know. Nobody knows. It's all in Daniel Andrews' head. And he probably doesn't know from minute to minute what he's going to say. It's total chaos. And that's one of the worst problems with this. It's not just the fact that it's draconian, that it's unfair, inconsistent, confused. It's been utterly incompetent the way it's handled. And it's made the whole crisis so much worse than it needs to be.
Nahaya, who's saying something positive here, is going, big shout out to Eric who came to our house to make coffee for us. We appreciate it. The kids love the hot chocolate, which is great. Going up to Haydar's big mansion out there in Gisborne with his great cars. We've got to get there Sunday for you to mow the lawn, Jim, when we can as well, with the bed as well. Then Denise Taylor's gone, Sunshine Coast is going great guns. I support for essential services, especially for the NDIS that need us with the cleaning.
That's good.
Which is fantastic here as well. And then we've got Eric Jenkins. I spent the afternoon with Haydar today. We had a great time and even took some pics and clips. Going back on Saturday, give him some training. Maybe give him some barista training out there as well, which is awesome. Then Sharon's gone, hi, Jim and Joel, love your work. Jim, can you give any advice to franchisees who have had customers want to cancel due to the poor publicity of late?
There's been a few, but the thing I'd always say to them is what people sometimes forget is that there might be one customer who says, I'm going to cancel. But I'm relatively few from what I've heard. But 10 people have heard about us and say, wacko, right on, Jim. And that'll make them more likely to want to use us next time. There's a saying that all publicity is good publicity. And what we've had is overwhelmingly good publicity out of this thing, especially more lately since the original Channel 7. This is going to boost the brand in a way. I mean, quite frankly, I'm not doing it for that reason. But honestly, this publicity we've been having is worth $1 million in terms of extra exposure of the brand, and mostly in a very positive way.
Yeah, now, James, it's been national, hasn't it? So it's been national. It's even in NZ, it got mentioned, I think someone was saying last week on the radio and stuff. So it's a national thing, especially in areas like Queensland and WA as well. So, but sorry to hear that. And we have heard that last week when the 7-1 went out as well. And Vicky Schrader's gone, work, question mark. So it must be for Vic Metro. Is there any franchisees that working, or they're allowed to, or we don't know? Have you heard much?
Well, in Melbourne Metro, some divisions are allowed to. I think antennas are still working.
And diggers as well, I think.
And yeah, some of them still can work, and the others are doing NDIS and emergencies and stuff like that. So, as far as possible, we don't want to charge any fees, but just get out there and do anything you can.
Now, I've just got a text from Rocky, the mowing divisional, says Eric's son lives in stage 3, but his territory's in stage 4, which is why that's.
Well, he can solve that if he lives in stage 3. All he has to do is to set his all areas to stage 3, which we can do on the computer. So just figure out where he can work and just stay in those areas.
So there we go. Thanks for that one, Rocky, on the live feed there as well. Trish has gone here. It's ridiculous that probably someone else from the council, was mowing the nature strips in my street today and even outside my house. Yes. It doesn't even need to be done.
No, absolutely not. It's so hypocritical. And this kind of inconsistency, it says if you are well connected, if you belong to a union, if you're a powerful corporation, rules don't apply to you. But anybody who's too weak and feeble, well, we can crush you because you don't matter. It's so much against what the Labor Party was founded for. The Labor Party was founded as a party to help the weak against the strong, the powerless, the people who had no voice. And now it's the opposite.
Now, Ismay's gone here. Are you for or against the vaccine? Question mark.
I am a big proponent of compulsory vaccination. Sorry, people, I will not budge on that one.
And Craig Watson's gone here. Hi, Jim and Joel. Any advice to a customer that refuses to pay the invoice? From Craig Watson.
Hassle them for it. Threaten them. Threaten to take away their credit rating, which we are actually working on. We'll be able to set it up so that you send prescribed letters. This will happen within the next few weeks, I hope. So you'll be able to ruin their credit. So next time they go for a loan, for anything at all, consumer loan, mortgage, anything at all, they're going to say, no, you can't get one. I mean, you could really do a lot of damage if you don't pay us. I mean, put the pressure on them. Don't let these so-and-sos get away with it.
Then James, it's a common problem, unfortunately. James Lee's going, how long ago did you start the business? And did you know you wanted to expand your business when you started, or were you just trying to get some money or create an ongoing business? So James is a new viewer.
I have been actually gardening part-time since 1970. I had my first couple of gardeners. I did it all through my university career, 1982 full-time, 1989 franchise. So I have been doing it for, half a century. Long
time. And then Ed Sullivan's gone, Jim's car cleaning service up in Rockhampton, Queensland. Absolutely. There's car detailing all around Australia doing really well. And Craig Watson's gone, he says the amount was $66. So it's been on there stiffing over $66, isn't it? That's the problem, because it's such a small amounts that the debt collectors won't really go after them, will they?
No, but that's why this Equifax thing is going to be good, because it doesn't matter how little they own. If it's $66, it's not worth taking them to court. But if we can register them as a delinquent debtor, it can cost them a fortune down the track a bit, and they'll know that, and we'll tell them this. That's the way to do it. We need to do a lot more to help people with small debts. People need to understand. Clients need to understand. The other thing we need to do too, if a person's a bad debtor, you tell us, and we put what's called a red note on their file. So if they try to ring for a service again, we won't deal with them. We don't want more than one person to be stuck with this.
It's pretty un-Australian stiff in the mum bloke, though, isn't it? Very un-Australian stiff in the mum bloke.
I can sort of understand, you don't pay a $100,000 bill because you can't. But who can't afford to pay $66 to the guy who cleans your car? It's pathetic. It really is. These people really make me, I don't know. Some people say the customer's always right. I reckon some customers are absolute sods.
Yeah,
they are.
Very true. And Christopher Cannavaro is going, hi Jim, where's the line between regular lawn maintenance and a lawn that is unsafe? It's a good question, Christopher.
In the wild imagines of the Premier. After all, let's face it, doing a flower bed, for heaven's sake, is absolutely essential for health and safety, provided it's done by council workers. That's one of the things that Andrews hasn't actually really progressed. This should be going to the WHO. Provided you're in a union, you cannot catch or pass this virus. You cannot do it. Anybody who's not in the union, they're a plague. As long as you're in the union, as long as you're powerful, as long as you're well connected, you cannot catch it, and the rules don't apply. It's idiotic.
Thanks for that question there, Christopher. That point was a good one as well. And Paul has got some vaccines are necessary, some are very unnecessary and wicked. So Paul's in that camp, but that's no problem, Paul. We welcome all opinions. And Kylie Olsen's gone, hey Jim, my nephew is 12 years old and started his own mowing services and doing quite well with regular customers. And after hearing about where you started from, he's been so inspired. Do you have any tips for him as a young entrepreneur? Thanks for that question, Kylie.
Yes, I thoroughly actually support him in that. I actually did do gardening from the time I was 8 to about the time of 14. I only stopped doing it for a few years. And it was great training. Actually, if you get my book, and I would say that he'd probably be able to understand it, download from www.jibs.net my book, which is Every Customer a Fan. And it talks about how at the age of 8, I started doing the work for a neighbor. And the lessons that I learned from that. So it's a great time to learn. And I reckon teenagers, it's a pity these days so many teenagers don't do jobs like they used to. Get out there, do a job, learn your skills, learn customer service, learn just business skills. Never too early to start. 8, 10, doesn't matter, whenever. Start doing it now, and you'll never regret it.
Thanks for that, Kylie, and thanks for leaving that question as well. It's really good. Okay, here we go as well. This is another from Trish who's gone, it's ridiculous that somebody with the council again has gone. What's the difference? People were outside walking close by, people outside with their kids and their buildings going on my street also talk about double standards. So referring to the double standards as you were referencing before.
I don't think anybody's got people more angry than this particular episode. It's so hypocritical. It's so obviously nothing to do with safety or public health. It's obviously got to do with politics and power.
And then Brett Davis has gone here. I had a Jim's franchise for 6 years and it was great for me. And then went out on my own and it got me where I am today. I am now a landscaper.
Good on you. Good on you. Look, I am proud of people who are ex-Jims too. If we got people to start, I know people like Andrew McIntosh, one of my first ever franchisees, who is a multi-millionaire property developer, owns all kinds of nurseries. I'd have enormous pride in that. A guy called Gary Taylor runs a huge tree business. He started getting work from me.
What's Taylor's? Taylor's on the back. Is that his?
Yeah.
Taylor Trees. I've seen him around a bit. Yeah.
Yeah. Gary actually got started with taking work from me from tree jobs right back in the 80s.
He's huge.
He's huge. And he started. We started together, you might say.
Wow, that's great. And Paul Evans has gone in. Victoria has road crews working around the clock, but we cannot work. So in regards to the road crews, absolutely.
Road crews you could sort of argue for in a way. I just find the gardening thing particularly galling. It's such a double standard. You could say, well, we have to have roads. It's a matter of safety. But why is a flower bed? Why is a nature strip? Why are they so important to health when our people can't work because we're such a danger? It's so unfair.
And Adam C. Pence has gone, hey, Jim, would you consider jumping castles? That's the first one I've ever heard as an add-on to a franchise. Never heard of Jim's Jumping Castles. It's got a nice ring to it.
Actually, just a couple of weeks ago, somebody approached me about this from Queensland. And they
really? Okay.
We're actually discussing it. Yes, it's quite a good business. It actually is. He was going through the economics. He'd run it in the past. It's not that expensive to get into. It's a good earner. I'd love to do it, actually. When the crisis passes, I hope we will be doing it.
Absolutely. There's a lot of comments coming into now, which is great, guys. So I'm not trying to miss them, trying to get in a row, but they keep flying off as soon as I try and get to them as well. So Ed Sullivan's got a Jim for Prime Minister. I don't know. Has it really got, has it tickled your politics fancy this, Jim?
I have very limited aims. I just want my franchisees to be out there working again and making an income. I'm not after it. If the Premier changes his mind, I'm going to shut up. I'm not going to say another thing. I have no role in politics at all. I just want my franchisees to be successful. And my only other aim is I'd like my research project to work. I can't see being Prime Minister would help either of those.
David Don's gone, I think Dan knows the suffering. He's just afraid there will be more suffering if nothing is done. We may need more lockdown. What are your thoughts about that?
Well, of course, but then why not apply the whole restrictions fairly? Do you think that having people go out in public and do jobs as council operators that we can't do as private makes people think it's fair? People don't. To have people respect the guidelines, they've got to be seen as being fair and impartially applied. And doing it in the way that he does undermines that. It undermines the sense of community. It says, hey, if you've got pull, if you've got money to give to political parties, if your union boss is powerful, you get your way. How does that help us to respect the rule of law? And apart from anything else, where is the evidence that a sole operator working alone is a danger to health? The Premier's own Department of Health and Human Services actually made it very clear that they could operate. The Premier himself changed it, and he's absolutely refused to give any reason, any evidence for why he changed his mind. There is no reason. There's no justification.
Then Andy Thompson's got in, can we get franchisee shirts in children's sizes? Kids would love to wear them. I've seen some franchisees get kids' sizes with their suppliers, so I think you can, if you ask them, yeah. And then Kwan's got in. So Kwan, with the question I'll ask you, this one's a tough one. Says, hey Jim, what are you doing to help franchisees that are losing so many clients because of your stance?
I don't think they are. I've heard one or two here and there, but I also know that there's stacks and stacks of leads coming in, and who knows how many of those are influenced by the publicity. So no, I don't know. I hear occasional one person that says, here and there I hear it. But don't forget, we have got tens upon tens of thousands of unserviced leads. There's certainly nobody who's any remotely close to losing out on income because of this. All they have to do is pick up their hand and they can pick up 3 more jobs tomorrow.
Yeah, I've looked at the comment sections, and I doubt that 1/10 of them are even a client of Jim's who say that sort of stuff. So
I've heard about a half dozen franchisees say they've lost 1 client. That's about the limit of it. It's so petty. It's nothing. And once again, you can't judge it. You can't say that's lost forever. There's nothing to replace it, because if one person hears about it and cancels, and 20 people hear about it and say, right on, Jim, and they're more likely to ring next week, that doesn't come into the figures. So no, I'm absolutely confident that what we're doing is good for gyms.
And then Ryan Fenton's gone, hey guys, loving the streams. While I'm not a franchisee, well, my business has just signed up with Gyms Plus, and I love it for the most part. So that's cool from someone non-Gyms letting us know as well, which is great. And then David McDonald,
down the track a bit, what I hope you'll do is you'll love our leads so much that you'll decide to come across to us. We actually do approach our top independent Gyms Plus. People who've got 4.6 ratings and above give good service. And what we're starting to do is to offer them, how would you like a franchise? You're a great operator. You're in business already. Come across, no charge, nothing. Come and get all the leads you want. Year round.
We want you in Gyms, Ryan. Ryan, you get the first dibs on those, and you get to pick and choose.
Gyms Plus is a way to learn about how great our system is, having leads that you don't have to competitive quote, unlike High Pages. But in the end, what we really want to do is to try and persuade you to join us fully. And you'll see what a fantastic benefit that is.
You've had a little taste. It's a lot better when you come in. Right. David McDonald says, I hear that, mate. We've started an Adopt a Vic campaign, getting our New South Wales and Queensland franchisees calling a Victorian counterpart once a week. That's from Paul Sanders. That's a very good initiative.
That is really wonderful, and it's great. And it's great how much support we've had from the rest of the country. Actually, we're the plague capital of the nation. So
they always call us Mexicans everywhere else. So they've got they're trying.
People trying to flee out of Victoria to get into other states. I mean, I don't blame you for not wanting us, but seriously, it's great to have your support. We appreciate it very much.
Then Jason Carroll's gone, is it true that sole traders are not entitled to do anything if they have no staff and not registered for GST? It's a good point. I don't know.
No, it doesn't make any difference. They don't really care. It's not staff. It's not GST. You just can't operate according to the Premier.
I think maybe he might be meaning in relation to JobKeeper maybe or something. I know that some businesses are eligible.
No, JobKeeper's not going to help you. You just got to go there for the dole.
Okay. And then Taylor Alcott's gone, hey guys, Jane and I are hoping you are safe, which is great. You're tuning in every week. Now, her movie's gone, can we mow empty block of lands, vacant houses, end of lease?
No.
End of lease?
No? Not the way I understand it, but I mean, who knows? There is some suggestion that end of lease, a empty house you can clean, but it's so vague and so contradictory. You'll 3 different people will tell you 3 different things. It's very hard to know.
As well. Yeah, even on risk driving.
It's very risky. Well. You risk a huge fine. Even if somebody tells you can do it and you go and do it, and somebody will say, okay, here's a $1,600 fine for doing the wrong thing. You just don't know. And that's one of the issues that the rules are so vague that nobody really understands them.
Then Eric Jersey's gone. NZ has gone back into stage 3 with only 4 cases. Do you think this is do you think this is too far?
Well, don't blame them for trying to suppress it. I mean, you've got to balance it though. You've got to balance the economic cost with the danger of infection and try and do a balance. If we almost got rid of it, I probably wouldn't object too much to it. I don't object to these sort of restrictions as long as they're fairly and properly and rationally applied.
Then Hanui's gone, how do we get a work permit for NDIS if we have clients in NDIS? How to get a work permit? They have it on the website, don't they?
Yeah. Something should have been sent to you, actually. They should have sent the link out, and you can just apply for it and go. But if you are doing NDIS clients, it is apparently okay.
Then Quine's going to ask Jim, can you please talk to us about your physical health problems? I don't know who's asking, you or me. I think you're pretty in good shape, Jim. So
I am very healthy, and I exercise rigorously for half an hour in the every morning, and I do other exercise as well. And I eat well. My weight is good. I'm very healthy, very happy. I'll probably live to be 100. I mean, really.
I say Jim's in better shape than people half his age, Quine. That's very true. Peter Wolsey's going, is Jim inside a solarium? I think you're inside a solarium. Maybe talk about where you actually are.
Where am I now? No,
someone's saying you're inside a solarium.
No, it's just my office, actually. That's my books behind me, which is just, I like books. Most of my books are now online, but what's that?
Have you read every one on the shelf?
Yeah, of course.
There we go.
On average, I read or listen to about 2 books a week, plus news magazines and the rest of it. So I'm a great reader. I love reading.
And we've got a question here from David. Jim, what's your favourite book on the shelf behind you? Good question.
Favourite book? There's so many.
So you see if you pick one out.
Well,
here we go. Doing the effort for you, David. Good question.
It doesn't.
Here we go. Let's grab one of them.
This doesn't look very exciting, but it's called East Asia: The Great Tradition. It's one of my university textbooks, and it's about the history of China and Japan up to about the 19th century, and it's just a fantastic book. A lot of my ideas of things I call lemming cycles in biohistory come out of this book and similar books. So it's a fascinating story. I love East Asian history. Somewhere the Peloponnesian Wars is in there too, by Thucydides. That's another one of my favorite books. Very big change. There are fantastic books in there. They really are. I love books. I'm reading at the moment. I'm reading Peter Fitzsimmons, I think his name is, and he's done wonderful books. I've just finished listening to The Mutiny on the Bounty.
Right. Oh, yeah, I know you're talking about Peter Fitzsimmons. Yeah, he's always on the Today
Peter
Show.
Fitzsimmons. Yeah, he's a great writer. He's really fascinating. Yeah. I'm not a great fan of Australian history, but The Mutiny on the Bounty is fantastic. It's absolutely enthralling. I'm now reading one about the Batavia, which is a wreck that happened off the coast of West Australia, which is and that's just immensely engaging. I've just finished one on called Banjo, about Banjo Patterson. Yeah. There's another one called Kokoda. He's a really, really fascinating. He just makes it all so live. His skills are.
He's a good writer. Yeah. He's always on the Today Show. So there's a few books recommendations for people. We always get asked that. So there you go.
I'll give you a few more too. Another one too that's really, really good. I have to mention this one here. I listen to it now. It's called
just getting out Audible. Jim's a big Audible user.
False Alarm. And it's about how to solve the greenhouse crisis and stuff. And it's very, very good. A lot of figures and stuff. And it shows how it's a problem, but the most cost-effective ways to defeat it and what works and what doesn't work. It's fascinating stuff. I mean, this is exciting. It's really, really exciting stuff. I love reading. I love listening to books.
There we go. And then Hamoodi's got it. And can we do commercial work if no one does it work? So Hamoodi, I just say talk to your franchisor again on the website, which is the best way to go.
No. Card to what I've been told, no. It doesn't matter if you're alone in a 20-acre site, as far as what I've been told. If you're a council gardener, 3 people, constant dealer with the public, flower beds, fine. Sole operator, working alone on a 10-acre site, no possible way. You're a plague carrier. You're rotten. I mean, you're illegal. The police will pull you over and fine you. This is the insanity of these stupid regulations.
Don't risk it. And then Paul Sanders gone spot on. Diggers still going and only down about 20%. Have fully suspended 1 franchise fees as he was worried about being out as his early mother-in-law lives with him, which we expect to continue to support him. So Diggers is still going strong, which is good to hear.
It's good.
Dave McDonald, I've had a few people who didn't want to pay their invoice. I took their antenna down. There you go. No TV. Vic Ransconi, hello, Jim. When you say all Metro franchisees are suspended, does that mean the franchise will not be charged monthly fee until 13th of September?
Of course not. Of course not. And when I say suspended, it's suspended, you don't pay fees. It doesn't mean to say you can't do work. You can go out and do NDIS, anything that's legal, we just won't charge you fees for it. We won't give any more. We won't give you any more leads. We can't do that because you're off the system. But you're still able to work. So nobody in gyms would ever dream of charging a franchisee fees when they were stopped by government from working.
Then Peter Wolsey's going, Jim, show us around your house and more importantly, where your safe is at. Well, we've got a house tour on YouTube. You can see Jim staying alive. He goes around there as well. The lovely thing's gone, if PM allows franchise to work but clients not allowed, then what should we do? Question mark from Lovely Singh.
Well, that was the case before under stage 3. You had some clients who didn't want us there, particularly cleaning, I might say. But so in that stage, some franchisees in cleaning did lose some income. But on the other hand, the franchisees who went out there and did the COVID safe in preparation with all the fogging machines and stuff, which they were taught how to do, said they made more money during that period than they ever had before. So it's really a case of how you approach it. It's just like in the wintertime in the mowing business. I mean, if you're just dependent on mowing lawns, you can run shorter work. But if you're prepared to go out and prune trees and clear gutters and do drainage and all the other stuff, you can make a lot more money in the winter than you do when the grass is growing.
No, Wayne Van Wingard's going, hi guys, we had the same thing here in NZ during level 4. Venetia was still mowing. I have a park opposite my house and they were mowing fortnightly while I had to sit home. Pretty frustrating. Absolutely. And Paul Cooper says bookkeepers can work remotely. Absolutely. Bookkeeping can do their work still. So if you need a bookkeeper now in this time to make use of your business, please get one. Then here we go. Kylie Olsen asked you, my nephew has just started his mowing business. I think we answered that one before. Ismet Kuru, great work, Jim. Jim's car detailing in Melbourne is also in shutdown, but we will come back ever stronger than ever, which is fantastic to hear as well. And then Peter Walls is going, you'd think of all the cash you have, Jim, you'd at least have a decent microphone. And that one that doesn't make you sound like you're a captain of an aircraft. Come on there, Peter Walls. It's not that bad.
One thing you should know about these, I'm incredibly stingy. People might think I drive around in a Lamborghini. I drive around in a 12-year-old Mitsubishi. I live very simply. I wear my shirts and my clothes until they wear out. I'm always buying the cheap stuff from Coles. I'm an incredible miser. That's all right. But I think there's better things to do with money. I'd much rather put it into something like research than into luxuries for myself, including great microphones.
Great microphones there. I think it's all right. It doesn't sound too bad. Eric Jennings is going, I'm happy to be used for the lawsuit, Jim. So Eric says he's been happy to use for the lawsuit.
Eric.
Which is Eric for the lawsuit.
But you're not shut down,
He's still
Eric.
working. No,
he's
still
still working.
You need to be shut down. Then David Don says, my neighbour's kids used to come to me on school holidays. Now he's leaving school and playing video games. How do I steer him to stay in school? Well, you can make big money now playing video games. There's multi-millionaires doing live streaming on Twitch and YouTube and that.
No, be serious. Who's supporting him is one question I would ask. One thing I would say, if you don't want to actually be in school, then go out and start gardening or mowing lawns, provided you're not in Daniel Andrews, Victoria, of course.
He's in regional area, I think, in Horsham, so he'll be all right.
Oh, Horsham, yeah. Well, go and get a job. Do something. Do some work. Learn what the real world's about. I tell you what, when I left school, I went to work for a year in various jobs. I worked on a farm. I sold encyclopedias. I worked for the public service, which wasn't work in any sense. It was too easy. But by the end of it, I was rabid to go back. So maybe they just need a bit of a break. But get him to do a job. Do not support him to do nothing. You are not helping him in any way by doing that.
I mean, guys going, Jim's mowing to be the new Premier of Victoria. There's a few comments like that tonight about you being PM. Jim's governing. There's a new franchise model in that. Jim's governing. I haven't heard that one before, which is quite funny. And then
I don't know. I'm not much in politics though. I do suspect that Daniel Andrews wished he hadn't taken me on. Honestly, I don't think it's doing me any good.
And then Uranus going, bring back Jim's Balloons, probably in relation to the I think Jim's Balloons was a Division 4, wasn't it, a while ago? Or
yeah, do we have balloons?
I know Jim's Balloons. I think I've looked in FMS. It was a division way back. So maybe Jim's Jumping Castles, Jim's Balloons all come back under the one thing as well.
We've tried a few things actually. Some of them haven't worked out, but most of them have.
And then if you hear one from Fatini's going, well done, Jim, for standing your ground.
Thank you.
It's a great one as well. And then we've got Bruce Van Ridge's gone, lockdowns are politically motivated. There is no scientific basis for this. Don't try to understand it.
Sorry, well. I don't agree. I've actually was one of the strongest supporters of the Premier until this thing happened. Until that day that he opened and blurted out that at the news comments, I was supportive. I said to everybody, download the app, wear your masks, support the government, support this whole effort. I was absolutely 100% on side. It's only when he made this insane comment to shut down an industry unnecessarily with no benefit to public health whatsoever that I became a voice. Apart from that, sorry, I was in support. I really was.
Thanks for that comment there, Bruce. Sam Torini's going, what's the difference going? What's the difference going to the shops? More risk getting than the infection than mowing someone's lawn. Exactly
right, and that's what I said too. You're actually mowing somebody's lawn alone. Now, I guess the Premier's idea is that when you stop mowing lawns, you're forced out of it. You're going to sit on your lounge room and you watch TV 24 hours a day. No, you're going to go for a walk. You're going to go for a run without a mask. You're going to buy fast food. You're going to go to a bottle shop. You aren't going to sit at home. In any one of those activities, you are far more of a risk to yourself and the public than you would be doing your job. So this shutdown of our industry, the sole operators, actually doesn't reduce risk of infection. It increases it. It's ludicrous. It's not fair, and it's not helpful, and it's not right.
I went to the bottle shop on Friday in Richmond, and it was packed. It was heaving. There's no social distancing in there. I can tell you that right now. Then Eric Jurgen says, Joel, I find it strange that you don't have a picture of your beloved leader behind you hanging on the wall. So maybe he's referring to you, Jim. I don't know. I've got a picture of a tiger there. I've got the shirt on, Eric, so that's enough. I think it'd be a bit weird if I had that on there, wouldn't it?
Right, yeah, you wear me on your clothes, I guess.
I tell you, I've got it every day. I'm always in uniform, so that's probably enough. Then Peter Woolsey's gone, maybe. Sorry, you go.
No, that's all right.
And then Peter Woolsey's gone, maybe next week, ask Jim live from Jim's hot tub. I don't think, do you have a hot tub there, Jim?
No, I don't.
Don't have a hot tub as well.
We actually have a sauna, as a matter of fact, which was here when we bought the house. So my wife and I go back there sometimes and have that in the evenings, which is nice.
Saunas are good for you. There's a lot of scientific studies about how good saunas are for you. So good to have. Then Julie Baldy's gone, we're still receiving Victorians ringing in for our services. So Julie's from the call centre.
What can you do? We can't stop them from ringing. We can't prevent them from calling. It's very tough on the call centre because they don't get paid for this, but people are still wanting services. Of course they do.
Then Paul Jones going, it absolutely blows my mind that you can't mow a garden on your own, putting people out of work, what a tool, absolutely. Then Peter Woolsey's going, does that bookshelf behind Jim turn around to a pole that leads down to the gym cave? Very, very good question.
Good idea. What would the gym cave do too? Some sort of a out fighting corrupt and evil premiers or something of that nature. Pow, pow, pow.
And I think you have around 20 lawyers down there you're torturing, hanging them on the wall, right? Maybe that's what as well. Then Gabrielle Frank's going to
I've just got a photo of the premier against the big dartboard, and I throw things at it. Just we talk about it.
Or you've got like a pinata version of Dan Andrews. Someone made the pinata and you can give it away. And Gabrielle Frank's gone, hi Jim, what's the limit to cross-divisional work, if any, from Gabrielle Frank?
Well,
what's the limit to cross-divisional work?
The limit is that you've got to be able to do it. So, I mean, if you've got the reasonable competence, some jobs like building fences, for example, we don't let anybody do because we've had such disastrous problems in the past, and a wrongly built fence is a horror. So, but generally speaking, through the recent crisis until recently, a lot of other divisions were doing mowing work because mowing work was actually up and there was a huge amount unserviced. So a lot of people actually got through the crisis by doing that cross-divisional work. It's fantastic. It's one of the benefits of our kind of system.
And Christian, make sure you have the proper insurance as well is the other key as well, be insured for it.
Yeah, you do have to have insurance.
And Christopher Canavara's gone, from what I've found in the system, no government grants available for sole traders who don't have an employee and work cover. Sorry.
No, you don't. You just got to go on the dole, basically.
It's horrible, isn't it? And Jonathan Moses is tuning in, which is great to go. John and Matthew Root has gone, how much is a franchise roughly, Matt? So maybe lawn mowing franchise. What's the rough franchise, Jim?
It depends. With equipment and training, it could be $25,000, $30,000. It depends also whether you're buying customers or not. But sometimes it depends on the area too. If the franchisor is really desperate to get you in, you can actually pay a lot less. And sometimes we do that. So it's really depends on the situation. But then again, a really good established lawn mowing business could be going up for $50,000, but that's because there's great clients involved. If you can go in, you can make it $3,000 a week from year one, from day one. Well, then that's worth a lot of money.
And Sparkle King's going to be nice to see the council can keep mowing lawns. Absolutely. We keep getting photos from ride-ons and multiple gardens in there as well.
I think that angers people more than anything else. I have had like 50 people object to that, to one person who thinks that Daniel Andrews is a saint and I should be nice to him. I mean, honestly, it's got people so furious.
Now, Ellie Jones is going to Matt Kavanagh's the best franchisor ever, so that's great feedback on the live stream. And Paul Kirby's gone.
Matt is doing a really good job. I talk to Matt a lot, and he's a fantastic asset to us, and he's going to do good things up there.
Then Paul Kirby's gone, yes, JobKeeper is available for some franchisees, but check with your local bookkeeper. That's very important. I know Jim's bookkeepers can help you out and advise you.
In the latest franchisee newsletter, you've actually got links. Bookkeeping will help you to get all these grants. It'll help you for the JobKeeper, and it'll help you with the other one. What do they call it?
JobKeeper. I don't know what the other one's called, but there's
But basically, it's unemployment. They'll show you how to apply for these things, and it's not that much. It's only just a few bucks, and they'll do it for you. Put you through all the loopholes. So
a lot of people watching. Yep. So
Jim's bookkeeping can help you.
And we got a lot of people watching still, which is great, guys. So make sure you leave a comment or question and share the feed. So David McDonald says, Jim, do you still have the first dollar or pound you earned, maybe framed?
No. No way. Actually, the first pound I worked was the first job I did back when I was 8 was 2 shillings a week. So for an hour's work raking somebody's driveway, I certainly didn't keep that. I spent it on chocolates or whatever I wanted at the time. Mind you, even in those days, I was a great saver. I always saved up everything, and I had that habit. And that's why I'm still a miser, really. I love saving money. I love saving and investing.
Then Nicole Plump's going to your hi, Jim. Why should franchisees pay for a lead fee when the customers don't answer? That's from Nicole Plump.
Yeah, because Nicole, the reason that we charge lead fees, we could charge a higher base fee or a lower base fee and a lead fee. It comes to the same. Now, we tried this experiment many years ago in the clean division, where we had some franchisees on a high base fee, some on lower base fee lead fee. So they paid exactly the same. But then what we did is ring the clients. And what we found out is that when there was no lead fee, just a base fee, 25% of the clients said they had no contact. When we phoned the clients, the franchisees who held on a lead fee, 3% of the clients said they had no contact. And when we actually looked at the conversion rate, we found that with a lead fee, we were converting 75%. Without a lead fee, we were converting 50%. In other words, by simply changing the way we calculated fees, we had 1/8 as many clients unhappy and 50% more work coming from the same volume of leads. So the simple answer is the lead fee is an incentive. Don't take the job unless you want it. And when you get it, follow it up. And it works very, very well.
Thanks for that question, Nicole. That was a good one. And Josh Eaton's got on your hi, Jim. Have you provided Dan Andrews' office with a proposal of how franchisees will comply with the COVID regulations and assured them everyone, franchisees and customers, will be able to provide contactless services?
I've made it quite clear what's around. We've always obeyed the law. We always do COVID safe. In fact, I suggested to him in the letter that we actually make it tougher than his own regulations. I said we won't get within 5 meters of a client. We'll have electronic payment. We'll be super safe. We'll be safer than in your own guidelines. We'll wear a mask if you want. You just tell us what to do. We'll be safe. We are no risk to anybody. Daniel Andrews' answer, nothing. Not a word. Couldn't be stuffed. The arrogant so-and-so couldn't even give us an answer. He can throw tens of thousands of Victorians out of work, but he can't even spend 2 minutes telling them why they're out of work.
Now, Eric Jurgens, in response to the legal case, says, but due to a lockdown, I have lost 75% of my work and most of my clients aren't working. So I'm very sorry to hear that, Eric. Then Hamoudi's going, thanks for your support, Jim's, and standing up for everyone, mate. I have my own gardening business. I totally agree with everything you're doing. It's very hard times. I hope he would change his mind. I even sent him 3 emails and he ignored every single one of them. When I told him that stage 4 lockdown is affecting me financially and mentally, and my wife is pregnant, and I need support, he refers to a mental health nurse and got a phone call. So
yes, exactly right. What I'd say to anybody if they want to do something is contact your MP, particularly if they're Labor, the state MP. Find out who they are, report to them. That's one of the things. If the next letter we just sent out today doesn't work, we'll try contacting Labor MPs directly, because they're the ones that can do something about it. They're the people that have got the power. Because in a parliamentary democracy, if the majority of state MPs actually decide that Daniel Andrews is a problem, they can get rid of him tomorrow. And then we've solved so many problems in this state by doing so.
And then David Don's going to Jim's Party Hire. Then John Formosa's got Jim's Balloons. That's a winner. So there's a bit of support for Jim's Balloons and Jim's Party Hire.
Well, actually, the person I'm talking to about jumping castles, they want to do that too. It's more like a party service. It's not just the castles. They do everything else as well. So it's a great
big jumping castle with your face on it, Jim. How do you reckon that would go? I reckon you go right with that there.
Well, if they can do it, why not? It's got very good economics, actually. When he first approached me, so the first thing somebody approaches me with the new division, I want to know is, can you make at least $60 per hour? If you can't, I don't want to hear from you, because I won't sell a franchise. Now, jumping castles can do a lot better than that. It's a great, great business. I really hope we can do it.
There we go. And Dave McDonald says Russia apparently has a vaccine. Yep, absolutely. Putin's claiming that he's testing on his daughter and whatever else. So they've got good scientists in Moscow, though. They always win the Olympics and the swimming and stuff for certain reasons.
I think it's because of this stuff, you know.
Yeah, so they're pretty good at developing some sort of.
They know all about
injections.
injecting substances into you for various reasons.
Correct.
I don't know
Yes.
you a vaccine though. It might
They've got a lot
give
of
you bulging muscles.
Yeah, it might make you win. Might make you win the 50-meter butterfly. And
Look,
Taylor
there's some great. There's a whole stack of different tests going out there right now, which it's human tests that look very promising. We could have a vaccine by early next year. Who knows? You can't rely on it. You can't depend on it, but there's a pretty good chance.
And Taylor Alcock's going, why bottle shops allowed to continue trading? They are not essential. From Taylor.
Don't ask me. A poor old lady who's got a gutter overflowing and water's wrecking her house, and she slips on branches or leaves in the driveway. That's not essential, but the bottle shop is essential. You ask me why.
Yeah, I've seen some stats online where people's drinking habits are going up because everyone's just day drinking now. They're drinking all the day. There's nothing for them to do. They get depressed, and obviously it's a depressant. So
I don't blame them for doing it. I'm not a drinker myself, obviously, but you know, it's hard times for anybody. It really is. It's very discouraging. Look, I personally am in a great situation. I've got 5 of us at home. My family, we're close. We love each other. It's wonderful. But people out there, there's many people who are so badly off. They're crippled emotionally, financially. It's a terrible time.
Yeah, if you know somebody's struggling, guys, just reach out to them. I know you sometimes just maybe a phone call to someone can help them out, no matter who it is. And David McDonald says, Joel, day on the road in November now. Yes, day on the road with you, David, when we're allowed to travel. Absolutely, and Horsham would love to do it. Now, John Pomosi's going, my franchisees can't work. Hang on a minute, I'll be right back. I've got Uber Eats delivering to my door. Uber Eats can come to your door, absolutely, and they don't read the thing to leave it at your door. They make sure they hand it to you. So, yes. We can say that one as well. Nigel Creamer's got a great show tonight, fellas. So thanks for tuning on, Nigel. Next week, please jump on it, guys, at 8 o'clock. And David McDonald, Joel, we must go to the Jim's Man Cave to rule the world. Jim put a picture of the Premier on the punching bag. The punching bag.
Bow, bow, bow. Like that, Daniel Andrews. If I can't do it in real life, I can do it. I'm kidding. I don't believe in violence. I just believe in
vigorous debating, vigorous writing of letters. So you can read Jim's new letter, which is on our Facebook page as well.
I believe in democracy. I just think it's not working quite as well as it should at the moment.
And if you were Sparkle King's got Daniel Andrews needs to resign on the minute. He's telling us not to wear masks because we are wasting them now. He's making us wear them. So some more conflicted information. Now here we go from Eddie Alfie. Maybe Jim should guarantee franchisees a weekly payment over the period as a goodwill down payment. He has made a lot of money, and now it's time to thank his network of local workers.
That's fantastic. If you are under the assumption that I make such a huge, whacking great amount of money from, but as I said before, I would profit less than $1 out of every $100 that a franchisee actually earns. It's not that it's impossible. If I completely bankrupted myself and destroyed my entire business over the next few weeks, I could probably do it. But we don't have that much of a margin. I'm not like an employer who's taking 30% of the bottom line. It's so small. I just don't have the resources to do that. The fact is, we're not charging fees. We're still providing support. We're doing everything we can. It's just not practical to do more. And I'm not as rich as you think. I'm a lot more famous than I'm rich. I wish I could. I wish I had millions and millions and millions in the bank and it's all rolling in this great stream. But I don't think it'd work very well because I'd have to charge my franchisees so much more in fees. Like, just an example, we probably take about 8% gross in terms of fees. That covers advertising, call center, franchisor support, technology fee, everything, okay? Now, if I was to take, say, 20% and the other 12% was in my pocket, yes, I could do what you say. But then who's going to pay 20%? You know, and that's the problem too. Okay, the model we've got is different, but let me give you an example. Mr. Antennas used to be the big guy in Australia, and they used to take 50% of what their franchisees earned. Now, one of their franchisees, Andrew Park, came to us and started Jim's Antennas, and we took the normal Jim's amount. And you might think that's stupid. We're only taking 8% or whatever. They're taking 50%. How could we compete with them? Well, we could, because we basically crushed them. Because who's going to work for somebody who takes 50% when you can pay 8% and be with us? And that's the reason we do it that way. And the reason Jim's works is because we are not greedy. We work on a very narrow margin, but it's a very, very genuinely good deal. So that's the reason. Now, if you want to talk about a model that takes 20%, great. I remember talking to what's the name? Johnny King, the American cleaning franchise, and they have a different model. They take 15%. And I was speaking to somebody who used to work for Johnny King he ran their WA office, and he came to me, and we were talking about what was happening. And he said, do you realise that Johnny King, WA, makes more money than your entire Jim's group with several thousand franchisees? He was shocked at how little there was. Now, I'm not asking people to feel sorry for me. I just want you to understand I'm not as rich as people think I am.
There was a big misconception online with the 7 News articles where they all pretty much said similar sentiment. And if anyone knows your business or knows you, it's not obviously the case. So spread that word, guys. Maybe you see people make that in bad misjudgment. It's not correct. And Sam Taruni's got a Jim, will you consider replacing Daniel Andrews as Premier Victoria? Maybe you could replace him, change the rules and retire.
I don't think the Labor Party would elect me.
No, they definitely would not after this. And then Caitlin's going, Jim, keep fighting, man. You're doing awesome. We have flaws we need to fix and we'll get there, but keep fighting since no one else can or will. Are you surprised that there hasn't been too many other prominent people who've come, that I've seen anyway, they've come forward? Because everyone says it's publicity or bad for the branding or whatever.
But you know why? There's a very obvious reason for that, is that people are scared of the government. They really are terrified of what the government can do. One of our main advantages is that we're not dependent on the government. We don't do a lot of big state government contracts because most of our work is domestic. So as a prominent businessman, I am really, really unusual in that I don't depend on government's favour. And even so, I mean, the Premier still tried to launch a vendetta. The police commission, his police commission, actually said, go out and target Jim's mowing. This guy has attacked me. I'm going to get back at him. I'm going to use my government power against him. Well, I wouldn't let my people go into conflict with the government, with the police force, so we shut down. But other people can't speak out because governments are so powerful. They can do so much damage. Next time you go for a contract and say, no, you had a go at me before. You're not getting anything. So many and so many big companies actually they give to both parties because they want whoever's in power to feel emboldened. They pay $1,000 to have a seat next to a government minister. They do all this stuff. One of the problems with politics in this country is there's so much big money. The unions contribute to the Labor Party. Big business contributes. There's all this money flowing in. And when you pay the political parties, then you have a say. That's how it works.
Now, Julie Baldry's got a job seeker, so you have job keeper and job seeker. So job seeker is the other one.
Job seeker.
That's it. Then Paul Jones has gone here. A mate of mine has just bought a Jim's mowing on the on Central Gold Coast. Do I get a spotter's fee? I don't know if you. I don't know. I think Paul's up on the Gold Coast, Central Coast. So I don't know if you referred him. I don't know, Paul. Maybe you have to talk to Paul King.
We do have depends on who you are and how you did it. There are fees. There are spotters fees available.
And then Caitlin Meredith is going. I think Jim's fighting for people, not only his own. That's the point, isn't it?
That's true. And most people who have approached me have not been our own people. And I do get overwhelming support from Jim's franchisees. I know some of them don't like what I'm doing, but most of them are in favour. But most of the people who contacted me have said, you're speaking up for us. We have got no voice. We've got nobody to speak to us. We're not part of a union. We're not big financial contributors to parties. There's nobody to speak for us. Labor Party certainly doesn't. Only you.
I think the point is as well, we were talking before, is that to get that amount of publicity, national publicity, it's got to be controversial or polarising. You know, we could do the greatest thing in the world for someone. I can tell you what, it wouldn't have got a tenth of the run as what you have recently in the last week. Then Dad McDonald's going, I don't pay lead fees because I don't want to take leads, maybe 2 or 3 a month if you're lucky. So that's very good as well.
Well, that's good too, because what it means is that instead of taking more and more leads, what you do is you get referrals, you give great service, you get extra work, you follow up past clients, which is fantastic. Because that means that the jobs that you don't take go to somebody else and keeps them busy.
Then Dean Majan's going, are school cleaners allowed to work? School cleaners? I don't know about schools. Unsure.
Well, the schools are all shut down, aren't they?
Yeah. So I don't. Maybe they're doing COVID cleans in schools. I have seen that online. So there's other businesses doing those COVID cleans. And then Wade's tuned in, which is great as well. So what we'll do there, guys, is we'll make sure we leave because we've just gone a bit over time tonight. So thanks, Jim, for hanging around a bit longer. We had a lot of people tuning. There's so many comments in, guys. The best thing to get your comment read next week is tune in from the start and right at the start. Because as we were going, you just kept going bang, bang, bang. I reckon I've only made it halfway down from everyone's comments, Jim. So we've gone in order. So make sure you jump on early next week and go from the start down to the top. And we'll be again from 7 o'clock as well, Jim. So thank you very much. And
look, if anybody's got a question they want to ask me, just email me, jim@jims.net, and I will follow it up for you.
You've been flat out, haven't you? I know your days have been really busy the last
Considering
week,
we've been shut down by the Premier, I actually managed to keep quite busy during the day.
Absolutely. So make sure you tune on next week, guys, from 7 o'clock. And big thanks to Ben and Jake who spent all the days while setting us up. So thanks, Jim. We'll leave it there, guys, and stay safe.
All right.
We'll see you next week again at 7 o'clock. Thanks, Jim. See ya.